All right, good afternoon, everybody. Good to see you. Typical Raleigh fashion, we're 4 minutes late, trying to make sure that everything works properly. So welcome to May's edition of our town hall meeting. This is going to be a little bit longer meeting because we didn't meet last month, so we got a lot of information to put out today. So with that being said, I will get started, and I'll call forth Pastor Elliott to start us off in prayer and then give the pastoral care update. Pastor?
Thank you, Raleigh. Good to see you all here today. Hope you all are well. I know some of us aren't, but we'll keep them all in prayer, won't we? Let us open with prayer. Dearest Lord, Heavenly Father, we give you thanks and praise for the beauty of this day and for this place we call the Lutheran Haven. It is certainly a place that you have created for your saints, for a place of respite, a place of community, a place of love, and a place where we give you thanks and glory for all that you've done. Open now our ears today so that we might hear all the information you have for us to hear, and give us your peace, for in Christ alone we do have peace. This we all pray in Jesus' name. Amen. Well, I don't have too much today, but I do have a few significant things. The first is starting with Bible studies. We still have the Monday morning Bible study at the assisted living facility at 10 a.m. And I tell you that because that is going to continue on through the summer every week until the Lord comes back. All right? But the Wednesday evening Bible study ends on the 24th of May. It takes its break for the summer. Okay? That is coinciding with the Bible study that we have for the men's and women's group over at St. Luke's. It's just a natural break for us, and it gives us pastors time to do some other things during the summer. So it's a good thing. So I do want to invite you all to the ALF for Sunday morning worship at 9:30. It is simply another St. Luke's service. It looks a lot like the afternoon divine, in which there is no standing. So if you might be less mobile, or you're, suffering from something that is making you less mobile, at least for a little bit of time, you're more than welcome to come on over and worship with us at the assisted living facility. Now, I don't know if you guys have been there, but they are rehabbing that space, and I'm sure somebody will be talking about that a little bit later. But in order to do that, they had to move therapy, so our worship space has been curtailed a bit. But when you're sitting closer together, it's just merrier. So come on over and worship with us. We'd love to have you. All right. Afternoon Divine is the 25th, and it is at 1:30 p.m. Don't be late. Don't be early. All right. Other news here. I'm going to let Deaconess McLean talk about koinonia here, so I'm just going to skip to the other two items here. We had a National Day of Prayer on May the 4th, and we had a little prayer vigil over at the ALF library, which actually seemed to be like a very nice space. It's very quiet. Good for contemplation and prayer. The last time we held a little prayer vigil was in this space, and we had 6 visits. This time we had 8 visits, so we had 2 more this time, which is good. But, I'm a pastor at the Lutheran Haven. I'd like to see more of you there next time we have a prayer vigil. All right. The Haven Flea Market, we had a prayer tent set up for the Haven Flea Market. You've probably seen that the last couple of years. We decided we'd try that out and try and reach out into the community with a little bit of prayer as well. We had 10 participants come by and ask for specific prayers, which is an increase of 4 over the last time we had it. That's a good increase. But we had countless other good conversations with folks who are just passing by and curious. So it's a wonderful thing. I think that'll continue on in the upswing, and it never hurts when Mariah is present. That kind of draws them all in. The other thing here, next slide, is we could use a piano player at 8 a.m. on Tuesday morning for devotions at the ALF. If any of you feel like you might want to do that on Tuesday mornings, we'd love to have you. Just give me a ring. And if you'd just rather be a substitute for somebody who can't make it, or they're going on vacation, we'd love to have a substitute as well. So give me a ring and we'll talk about that. Speaking of outages with piano players, just a quick outage for me. Next week, I have next week off Monday through Friday. I'm going to take a little bit of vacation, so you won't see me around campus, but there are other pastors at St. Luke's, so you guys will not be left without support. Any questions thus far? Okay, I don't see any, so I must be clear as mud. That's good. I'm going to ask Deaconess McLean to come on up right now, and she's going to fill you in on koinonia and just a few other things.
Good afternoon, everyone. For koinonia, our group still meets, although we'll have an outage, but we've made 6 bags to hand out for caregivers. It's support for them with prayers, a bag, and a little Afghan. And we have more that are ready to go to the caregiver support group. We're not going to be having koinonia at the end of May, so that'll be canceled, and also through June. We're going to take a break. I'm going to be out for about 4 weeks to have a small laparoscopic surgery on an ovarian cyst. So if you could pray for that, that's next Thursday. But I'll be out for 2 to 4 weeks. We'll see how it goes. This Sunday, we have cell phone help with the high schoolers. So if you want to come in here at 4 p.m. this Sunday, we only have about an hour and 15 minutes this time because the high schoolers have another event right after. But if you have any questions about how to use your cell phone, how to make calls, anything like that, come. And they really had a good time helping everybody out. The only other thing is VBS is June 5th through, I think it's the 9th or 10th, whatever that Friday is. They still need some volunteers. If you can do just 1 or 2 days that week, we have a lot of people who can only do 1 or 2 days, and so we have a couple spots that need to be filled in. If you go to the St. Luke's website, you can sign up for that. Oh, Trinity Prep is having their graduation ceremony at St. Luke's next Thursday, May 25th. So there's going to be thousands of cars, literally, they said, on the St. Luke's campus, just so you're aware. You might want to stay away. They've asked all of us to be off the campus by about 4 p.m. that night. That's next Thursday, May 25th. The last day of school is next Friday also.
Any questions for Deaconess McLean? Awesome. Good job. Well, I know that we have activities up next, but before we start the activities, Lori, come here for a second, please. She doesn't know I'm doing this, but, you know, she's probably not that comfortable with it. But how many of you all went on the Nashville trip? How many of you had a great time on the Nashville trip? Exactly. She does a phenomenal job. I've heard nothing but good things about the Nashville trip since y'all have gotten back. And, you know, she didn't just work her tail off while she was there. This starts months and months and months in advance, you know, and all the prep work that has to go into that on top of making sure that monthly activities go forth. She's a department of one person and does all that. So, you know, I just want to say kudos. Well done. Another great event that was put on for our residents, and you're greatly appreciated, and I know that they appreciate it, but you needed to hear that from them. So, thank you.
Well, he stole my thunder for the first slide. So here are our Haven travelers on the Nashville trip. So this is everyone that went. Again, everyone, I assume, had a good time. From what I heard, anyway, I heard a lot of positive feedback. I'm sorry. No, it's okay. I didn't know you were doing it. Okay, so these are some of the sites that we did see while we were away. The Tennessee State Museum. We went to the Grand Ole Opry. We went to the Country Music Hall of Fame, and we also had the Nashville Nightlife Dinner Theater, which they had performers there, as well as tons of food. I think everyone ate so much that week. We also did a little bit of downtown Nashville. Too bad it rained in the morning on that trip. But we did get to see some of the sights there. We did go to Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. And then Diamond Tours actually threw us a dinner party with entertainment. And I'll talk about that entertainment in a minute. And then we also went to the Bellemeade Historic Site and Winery, where we did see a small plantation, and then the residents went off to the side, and those who wanted was able to test some of their wines. Oh, okay. So this was in the Grand Ole Opry on the stage. It's called the Stage Circle. This is where a lot of the country singers come in, and this is where they all sing. So we got to get some pictures in front so you can see. I just put our residents up there. I didn't put the outside people because they're not here and they won't see it. So, but you can see yourselves up there. Okay, next slide. So Dave and Daphne were our entertainers at the Diamond Tours dinner party that night. Daphne, her roots are in gospel music. She toured with Bill Gaither's conventions, and the Southern Gospel Music Association voted her their female vocalist of the year. She had an excellent voice. I believe everyone loved them both. And then Dave, he toured the world with Barbara Mandrell, and he performed for U.S. presidents, the latest one being Bush. And he performs with his uncle at the Grand Ole Opry from time to time. So they were really good. They are going to, I'm trying to get them to come here in January. They're snowbirds. So I talked to them a little bit. We're going to try to get them. We're going to try. I think we're really going to get them here. So I'll give you more information as that time comes up. So look for that in January. And then we also, at the Grand Ole Opry, got a treat. We had Stephen Curtis Chapman perform for us, as well as his sons. They performed for their first time on the Opry stage. So he was so happy to see his sons perform, and he actually performed with them and after them. And they also said, you may run into some stars along the way in Nashville. Well, Stephen Curtis Chapman was one, and this was the second one. It's John Cougar Mellencamp. We ran into at the Country Music Hall of Fame. So he was on his way out the door as everyone was kind of walking around. So that was kind of fun. So ongoing with the calendar for the month, tomorrow we have the movie Grease, celebrating the 70s, the decade of the 70s. That's tomorrow at 1:30 here in Fellowship Hall. And then Armed Forces Day at Mission Barbecue, just so that you're all aware, and I believe it's on the scroll. All this week, Mission Barbecue will celebrate the veterans and all active duty members. So Army was yesterday, Marine Corps was today, Navy tomorrow, Air Force and Space Force on Thursday, Coast Guard on Friday, and Lunch with Heroes on Saturday. And just be sure to arrive before noon for the live national anthem. And then Flags for Armed Forces Day. We have one of our, from the VFW post here in Oviedo, Richard Otto, who places flags on all of our military deceased over in St. Luke's, and he's asking for volunteers to come over and help place those flags, and that will be Saturday, May 20th at St. Luke's Cemetery at 9 a.m. So if you just want to meet him over there, that would be great. And then Through the Decades with Linda Kirk continues with the 4th of 7 presentations. This month we're celebrating the 70s, so come on out and hear Linda's presentation. She does a wonderful job going back from the beginning. So please come on over and hear her speak about that. And then continuing on, bingo, we had the state of Iowa on Wednesday the 24th, the birthday luncheon at Mount Vesuvio Italian Grill. We still have spots available for that. And then cooking with Chef Eddie on Tuesday, May 30th at 1:30. And then last but not least, don't forget our 70s disco dessert party, which will be held on Saturday, May 27th. The time is 5 to 7. I know it says on the calendar 6 p.m., but the time has changed from 5 to 7. Here in Fellowship Hall, pick up your tickets at the landings. Since I was away last week, I left those tickets over there for you to pick up. So go ahead and go over and pick that up from there. We will have prizes for the best male and female costumes. We'll have a DJ, dessert, and prizes. Are there any questions for me? Nothing? Okay, then I'm going to call Jerry, our CEO, up.
All right. Hey, everybody. How you doing? All right, good deal. I'm doing pretty good today, too. Appreciate you guys being out here. And if you haven't noticed, we're kind of doing little things out of order today. We're kind of mixing it up. Because if you've looked around, there's a lot of stuff going on around us. If you look out the window, for you folks at home, you might not be able to see this part out the window, but there's a big old utility truck right behind us. We got utility trucks all over the place. We had a flea market going on. We got renovation work and construction workers going on over at the ALF building. We got Lori and her traveling band of merrymakers going all over the country, leaving their marks. I should have started off with howdy, like they do at the Grand Ole Opry. And then this week, just to add more fun for us, we have our Board of Trustees meeting on Thursday and Friday. So there's a lot of stuff that's going on, and it's really all good. And I'm just loving being here this afternoon with you guys. So I'm going to update you on a couple of those things. Or not any of those things, but a couple other things that are going on outside of campus, off campus, in the, virtual world. And let's see, I'll go ahead and advance. Oh boy, hang on. Technical difficulty. This is what's known as a user issue. Is that this one? Nope. Where's Raleigh when I need him? There, I thought that was that one. Oh, okay. I got to pull it up.
Just move this over. Minimize it. I think you're right there.
Okay.
I'll let you advance your slides.
Okay, perfect. Okay, where are those high school kids when you need them? That's the wrong one. All right, hang on. They're coming Monday. Okay, can you guys come back Monday while I do this? Sunday. All right, come back Sunday. Hang on, we're about to get going here. There we go. All right. Now we're cooking. Let's see. Slideshow. Did it come up? Hey, there we go. All right, cool. All right. Well, maybe not. Gotta love it. Might have to shut Raleigh's off.
And for my next trip, I'll attempt to gargle peanut butter.
No, that was the wrong one. There we go. Now I want to clear this. Right. It's this one now should work. Maybe not. All right, I'm just going to do this one. Let's see if this will work. Nope, still not going to work. All right, fine. Be that way. I'm telling you, this is crazy. There we go. Now we'll try it one more time. Hey, I think I got it this time. Hey! Okay, now with that, I know you're going to have a lot of faith in what I'm about to show you that we've done on the website, right? Hang in there. It might be similar to your experience when you go on the web. So anyway, so what we've done is we've made a lot of updates to the resident portal. And I was lucky enough to deal with, we had a small group of residents who gave us some feedback and some input on what they wanted to see changed on the resident portal. And we were able to work with a few of our technical folks and get some of those changes made. So what our goal was to try and make things more helpful and convenient for you guys and eventually more efficient for us. So we went and we said, let's make it easier to find what you're looking for, easier to navigate to find what you're looking for, and also a little bit easier maybe to communicate with us and back and forth. So we tried to get more information at your fingertips. So we've updated some of the resident and staff directories. We've added committee information. In some cases, it's the members of the committees. In some cases, it's the contact people for those committees. But all that information is on there now. And probably more significantly from a feature standpoint, we've added the ability to look at your point of sale and work order information as it sits in our system. So we'll go through each one of these. The first thing is to get on the portal. I don't know how many of you guys have been on the portal. We talk about it when you first move in and close, and some people, that's the last they ever deal with it, and others use it fairly regularly. But there is a password that's required to get into the resident portal, and the portal is found on our website, which is www.lutheranhaven.org, and there's a little area. Let's see if the mouse will, can you see the mouse? Nope. Okay, so there's a little over there where the arrow is, that's Haven Portals, and if you hover over that, you'll see there's an employee portal, a board of trustees portal, and a resident portal, and that's the one that you would want to get. Once you go through that resident portal, you'll see a screen like this, and where you enter your password. If you don't know your password, there's just like on any website, there's an area that you can click, I forgot my password, and it'll take you through the password resetting process. Once you've entered your password, you'll be taken to, this is the main page of the resident portal, which it's slightly different. And what you'll see on that page is various lists. And each of those items, and it's not so important that you see what each of those items are here, because you know what I'm going to encourage you to do is go to the website, go to the portal, and just explore it and discover. You can't break it. I've already done that. So so you'll see each one of these things that's in blue and has a line underneath it is a link to something. Most of the time it's a document that might have phone numbers or other information about committees or about whatever it is you're looking for. The resident directory, many of you have used the resident directory. That's on here. You can look up people by their location on a map. You can look up people by their name, and it will give you their contact information. And I will tell you that is the most updated information we have. If you remember, we only publish the hand directory twice a year. So for new people moving in, and if you've changed phone numbers in between that, the place to go is on the resident portal. So if you were to click on this, one of the things that we did, if you were to click, in this case, I'm going to click on staff, contact us for the Lutheran Haven staff. And what comes up now, what used to come up is just this little form, and you could type in an email or something. Now what comes up is basically a name, what their position is, and the relevant phone number. Now, there's not every staff member is on this list, but the key staff people that you guys would more than likely need are on this list. And it'll provide you with two ways to contact them. One is you've got the phone number. The second is, if there's if it's highlighted in blue and there's an underline on it, you can click on that and it will open up a window that will allow you to send that person an email. So you can just send that person an email, they'll get the email, and then they can follow up. And most all of the rest of the items that are in that list, that are in those blue items, they all kind of work the same way. So we've added that feature, and that used to not be the case. And in a lot of cases, some of the committee information and other information was not available on the resident portal, and now that information is. So the next thing is talking about the POS, or point of sale, work orders and receipts. And we do this by, we've worked with our POS provider, and we call it the iCare Connect. And you access it through the portal, so you don't need any kind of new password or anything. You just log into the portal, and there's a link on the portal that will take you to iCare Connect. And what iCare Connect will allow you to do is to look at your transactions and your receipts. It will give you your balances. If you have a meal plan balance, it'll show the meal plan. If you have just a regular account balance, it'll show you that. It will let you look at your receipts, and it will also let you look at any work orders that have been submitted. So in order to do that, what you would do is you would click on the little link over that you see. It says iCare Connect. And then it comes to a screen. I've blocked out, hopefully, blocked out the person's name that's on there. But right off the bat, you can see that you get news, you can get your transactions, and you can take a look at your work orders. And your balance is right there in front of you. So if you're curious as to what your balance is, where you are in your meal plan, for those of you that live at the landings, all you need to do is go to the portal. You can find that anytime at your convenience. If you were to pick the transactions, you would get a screen like this. And this screen will show the last 200 transactions for your account. Now, we're working on some new features. We're going to be making it a little easier. We'll be able to put some date ranges in there. I want to look from this date to that date. But right now, this is what we've got. And please know that we'll be tweaking it. And as you guys give us input, we'll be trying to incorporate that into it. But so it will give you your last 200 transactions. In this case, for those of you at home, I'm going to be, I guess you might be able to see, I'm going to be pointing up here. That number is the number of transactions that are showing. So in this person's case, there were 48 transactions. There weren't 200 and something, there were just 48. And then each transaction is listed. And if you were to click on one of those transactions, you would get a receipt that looks like that. So it gives you everything that you would get on your paper receipt. You've got that receipt right there. So kind of what we're hoping is that this will ease a little bit. Number one, it makes it convenient for you, because if you're not sure about something, you can go in and look at it and check on it. And number two, it makes it a little bit more efficient and easier on our staff. So Jeannie's not having to look stuff up, or Janet or Heather. This information is right there, and you can look it up at your convenience. And we're hoping that will eliminate some of the questions and things that you might have, or at least if you have questions, when you call with those questions, you don't know exactly what you're going to ask. On this date, I don't believe I did this, or this, you charged me wrong, or something like that, and I've got the receipt. Instead of having them have to look it up, print the receipt out, find you, so we're hoping that really helps make it efficient. On the work order side, what you're going to see is very similar. You're going to see all of the work orders that are associated with your account. Now, our work order system's pretty new. We really kind of went in full swing with it in September. So there may not be, if we're looking at some old things that were done, they may not be listed. But going forward, any work order, you should be able to see when it was created, what the status of it is, and if it was completed, when it was completed. And then if you have any questions about that, it'll give you a description of what the work order is. And then if you have any questions, like you're not sure if the work order got put in that you called in, you can just go there and look rather than call Jeannie or David or Raleigh or somebody to find out. Eventually, what we hope to be able to do is to be able to communicate with you via the portal on these work orders. So you might be able to initiate a work order yourself from the portal. We're not there yet, but eventually that's kind of the direction that we're heading. And with the meals, we're heading in a direction of being able to allow you to order meals online, so you can go in and pre-order things. We're not there yet, but we're getting there, and this is the first step to do that. Each of these areas, the transactions and the work orders, both of them in the various columns, pretty much every one of those columns is sortable. So you can sort it, most recent to oldest or oldest to most recent, and go forward like that. So coming soon is the Lutheran Haven YouTube channel. It will allow us to put town hall meetings. So today's will be the first meeting, and we hope to put some of our historical meetings up there. Educational presentations. So sometimes I think Julie's got some people that come out for cardiology or for some nutritional, and as long as we have their permission, we can record that and put it up there. Julie Clock and her health concierge team. Looks like I'm gonna my lucky day. That's my gold. Hold on. So. So some of the aging in place sessions and informational sessions will be up on that YouTube channel, available for you at your convenience to watch it. And one of the big pluses of this is that, and many of you may not realize it, but when we rebroadcast something over the cable channel, that means Jeff has to physically come in. He has to change the equipment around, unplug this, plug this in, load this up, and get it going. So a lot of times, you guys may want to see something on a Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, and Jeff is flying a plane or diving under the ocean, whatever. He's anywhere but on the ground, and so he's not able to make that happen for you. So with the YouTube channel, you'll be able to watch it at your convenience whenever you want to. And I've put the link up there, and again, we can make the link available to you, and there will be a link. It's not there yet, but there will be a link on the resident portal that will take you directly to that YouTube channel. If you have a YouTube account, you can subscribe to the channel, and then you can go in through your own way to do that. And that, for the most part, are the main things that we've done with the portal. For those of you, I don't want to steal. Are you going to talk about the other part of the Marianne? Okay. So the other thing we've done, so I didn't put it in my presentation because I wasn't sure if Marianne was going to, but now that I can't shut up, I'm going to go anyway. So we've also updated the faithful giving portion of our website. So we've made it way, way, way easier to donate online. It used to be pretty much a nightmare. I don't know that we could have made it any harder for people to donate online, but we certainly tried. But now we've made a lot of progress. We've made it a lot easier. We can get a lot of information through the online donation process. And again, that process will be updated and be continually changing. And the biggest help that you guys can be to us for any of these things that I've just been talking about is to communicate with us. Let us know what's working, what's not working, what we might be able to do better. We might not always be able to do it, but we can certainly try. And with that, I will open up for any questions that you might have. Yes, ma'am.
Will the YouTube channel be open to the public, or will it be private just for us?
This channel, that's a good question. Jeff, will the YouTube channel it'll be open to the public? Be open to the public. I figured it probably would be, because I'm not even sure if we wanted it not to be, that we could keep it from being open to the public. Any other questions? Oh, yes, ma'am. Miss Julia.
You're assuming that we're all tech savvy, and we're not. And so many of us are a little bit, are we going to have some kind of a class that would help us to do this more than what we're hearing today?
Okay, and the answer is yes. So, and they'll come in multiple ways. Number one, part of the goal of this is and we did not assume that everybody was tech savvy. We knew a lot of people weren't tech savvy, but some of you are way more tech savvy than we are. And so, but we've got to be moving in that direction. So yes, we will. Pretty much any of our staff members can help a little bit, but we'll put on some workshops and things like that to help people. But I would encourage you to ask other residents who that you know that maybe use it, and maybe we can get some of our youth in here, some of our second graders in here to show us all how to use it. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so we had the comment was, I can turn on the TV and stereo and all that good stuff, but I have no idea what Jerry is talking about. And to that, I would say join probably 295 other people that are watching today that don't know what I'm talking about. But we'll do our best to educate you, and if you want to learn, you can learn. And certainly every single person on our campus has the ability to learn, and it's just a matter of do you want to do it. And some of you won't, and that's okay too. It's not a requirement. But it's a way to grow. It's a way to continue to grow. And more of not just Lutheran Haven life, but life in general is going online. So this is an opportunity to maybe grow a little bit individually and personally. Any other questions? Okay, so with that, I'm going to do a very cowardly thing. I have to leave early today, and it just so happens that Mike's going to be talking about the budget. So I won't be here when he does that. So oh darn. So Michael, and then I'm going to let Raleigh handle the switch over of the slides because I know you guys want to get out of here today. So.
Thank you. Hopefully he didn't jinx me with the technology. And while we're waiting for Raleigh to get this presentation going, my name is Michael Ray. I'm the CFO here at Lutheran Haven for those of you that are maybe new, or I don't present a whole lot. Usually this is about the time of year, and maybe one other time when the budget's final, I'll get up and speak. So you don't get to see me too often. I'm usually in the back just listening. All right. I didn't prepare any jokes. All right. How does it look? Yes. All right, let's see if this goes forward. All right, okay, good. Looks like we're in great shape. That's good. So we really just wanted to get out here a little bit early and talk to you about the budget for the next coming fiscal year. And for those of you that don't know or maybe are not aware, our fiscal year runs from 9/1, September 1st, all the way to August 31st. So we're not on a calendar year, but a fiscal year for our budget. And while we don't have it finalized yet, we continue to work on it. We've been meeting with the department heads and the managers, getting their input on what they would forecast and foresee here in the next 18 months by the time we get to the August of 2024. So we're taking all that information, compiling it, and so we hope to have that budget finalized maybe end of June, beginning of July. We always try to make sure we give you guys plenty of notice in terms of service fee increases. So the factors that go into compiling our budget is inflation is a big one, right? And we hear that on the news every day these days. Usually it's not that bad, but over the last 18 months, 2 years, inflation's been pretty significant, and it continues to be. The other one is personnel cost. Personnel costs represent a pretty large portion of the expenses here at Lutheran Haven because we provide a lot of services. Yeah, we have a lot of brick and mortar that we have to take care of too, and I'll mention that a little bit in here. But personnel cost does represent a large portion of our budget. in terms of expenses. Insurance, I think you'll be surprised when we get to that slide and I kind of share some of the insurance information with you. And then competitiveness. We always want to make sure that we are a value at Lutheran Haven and we remain competitive in the marketplace. So we have to be mindful of that when we increase our monthly service fees or any other charges that we ask for the services we provide. So inflation. Is it moderating? You know, we just had the report, was it last week, about inflation for April. And so inflation for April continues to be high, but it is coming down a little bit. 4.9% year over year, April of 22 to April of 23. That's better than when we were at 8, almost 9% late last year, early this year. So we hope that it continues to moderate, but we're not really projecting it to be much less than 5% as we move forward into the rest of this year. And hopefully as we get into 2024, it moderates some more. And for example, the most recent report from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics for April of 2023, food is still almost 8% higher in cost from April of last year to April of this year. And we see that in our expenses also, and I'm sure when you go to the grocery store and you shop, you see it also. Energy. Duke Energy, they increased their rates by almost 13% in the beginning of this year. Nationally, when you look at the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, it's about 8.5% overall, and that's a national picture. But Duke Energy here in the state of Florida went up 13. So we see that also, and I see it in my electric bill when I receive it every month also. When I talked about bricks and mortar, right, the buildings, the cottages, the landings, all of those things, we're a 75-year-old campus, right? So, you know, we've got a lot of age on us, and repair and maintenance is a big line item for Lutheran Haven. And the maintenance for this year was up almost 25%. And that's going to vacillate. Some years it's going to be high and some years it's going to be less. It just kind of depends on what comes up. And there are things like life safety issues for Julie and her crew at the assisted living or the memory care, or even in some of the other areas that we just can't put off. They have to be fixed. And so we have to spend money in those areas. And it's also important to keep up curb appeal. We want Lutheran Haven to look nice. And so those are some of the areas when we talk about R&M that comprise that 25% increase year over year. Personnel cost. I said it represents the highest expense that we have here at Lutheran Haven, and it accounts for approximately 63% of total operating expenses. And that's wages and benefits. And I'll talk a little bit about benefits also. Unemployment in Seminole County, this is for April. This is last month, 2.4%. It's low, and that makes it tough to compete for staff. There are a lot of organizations looking for people to work. So what does that do? It puts a lot of pressure on wages, right? If we want to recruit and retain people, we have to pay them a decent wage. Are we always going to be at the top of the market? No. So sometimes that's why you see turnover. That's why you see people leave, is there are some positions within the organization that will leave for just a little bit of money, and it's very competitive out there right now. So the average weekly wage in Seminole County. Now, this was late last year because it takes a while for the government to compile this data, but wages were up almost or a little over 8% in Seminole County late last year. And so we continue to see those wage pressures in the community and at Lutheran Haven also. One of the other things that we want to share, and I think we've shared this with you in the past, and last year and even this upcoming year, there's not a lot of impact with the minimum wage increase. If you remember, in 2020, Florida passed, I think it was a constitutional amendment or a law, I can't remember which one now, where the minimum wage would go up $1 starting September of last year. It would go $11 and then $12, $13, $14, $15 through 2026, right? But we didn't have a whole lot of employees at the $11 and $12 rate last year or this year. So not a big impact, but it will be a big impact next year when we start going to 13, 14, 15. Because if somebody is at $12 an hour and the typical wage increases have been traditionally 3%, give or take a little bit, right? 3% won't cover it the next few years. So in 2024, anybody that's making close to the minimum wage of $12, to get them to 13, that's an 8.3% increase in their wages. And 2025, 2026, you can see it's still over 7, even as we get to the final year. And then even beyond that, the market, you see the signs, I'm sure, whether it's McDonald's or Wawa or any of those fast food, Sam's, Walmart, they're offering a pretty high starting wage. Even Disney most recently came out, and I think they want to get them up to $20 an hour to start. So there's a lot of wage pressures on us as an organization. And then really what that does, what we have concerns about is something that doesn't get talked about a whole lot, and that's wage compression. And what that means is if we have these $2 increases that we have to give out that are what we had, it'd be 16, 23% over a 3-year period, 23% increase in wage for somebody that's close to the minimum wage. Well, what if their supervisor is only getting 3% over that period, and now those two wages compressed to just about equal, right? And the supervisor's getting no more than the individuals that they're supervising. So that creates some challenges as we move forward. But in the 2023-24 budget, we don't anticipate a lot of impact. But just giving you a heads up as we move into the next couple of years, that will start to become more of a factor. Insurance. I think this one might shock you, but when you take a look at the insurance premiums that we pay, property and casualty, so for property insurance, for liability insurance, health insurance for our staff, it's almost $1 million a year. And so that is a big number that we have to overcome and work on as we prepare the budget. So property. Property was up 33% this year. We just renewed last week. And you probably have seen in the news, they had 2 special legislative sessions to try to fix the problems, but the premiums are not going down yet. And they're probably still, hopefully, knock on wood, 6 to 12 months away from maybe seeing some real impact of those new laws. But right now, 33% is the increase that we just got last week. Workman's comp. We downsized with the closing of the nursing home, so we have fewer employees that we need to cover under workers' compensation insurance, but we still expect about a 28% increase over what we're charging right now. And that's really, it's a little bit complicated, but what it boils down to is the premium that we pay to most of the insurers is so small that they feel like they can't manage for that amount of premium because the rates are set by the state. So they tack on an additional amount to say, okay, we can handle your organization if we pay this much. And so we've been able to do that calculation. And then employee health insurance. It's a big number within that $1 million, but it's a benefit that we feel is important, our staff feel is important, and to be competitive, right? As an organization to attract and retain workers, healthcare coverage is important. So last year we got an 8.5% increase, which that was a large increase year over year. Right now it's early in that process because our health insurance is actually on a calendar basis, right? So it goes January 1 to December 31st. So we're so early in that insurance calendar year, all they can give us at this point is an estimate, but right now it's running about 6%. So we don't know if that's going to go up or down from there, but that's very preliminary. And then, the health insurance, I had mentioned it's a big number. So when you talk about benefit cost, all the cost of all the benefits that we provide our staff, healthcare is 50% of that. Competitiveness. So we do an annual assessment every year. We talk to the other marketing departments. We talk to other individuals that we know within the industry to determine, what are you going to increase your rates this year. We'll be conducting that as we get into next month, and that does play a large role in how much we feel we can support an increase and how much that increase is. So that's not quite done yet, but we do that every year. But when we take a look at that on a national level, and though it doesn't look too bad, but it still might be a little bit small to see. But this is 2013 right here, all the way out to 2023 anticipated. And so for the last decade, the average has really been, right here, the median, has been 3%. And this is my 21st year in this industry. I would agree with that. It's probably been about 3% my whole career. There's been some exceptions here or there. I've been with an organization that maybe didn't increase service fees, and they probably should have. And then also, of those of you that were here in 23 and 24, or I'm 23 and 24, 03 and 04, you remember all the hurricanes that came those 2 years. Property insurance was even worse then than it is right now. I think with one organization I was with, we had to increase our service fees 7%, I think, in 04 because of the high cost of insurance. There was liability insurance too that was really driving that also. But right here you see the average. So 2022 is when we really started to see a departure from that 3%. The median was 4.5, and the average was 4.75. Now, this is a poll that was just done last month. So this was done by Ziegler. They're a large investment banker in our industry. Right now, the projected for 2023 is 6%, and average is 6.3 is what CEOs and CFOs. There were over 250 responses to this. So it's pretty broad. It's a national poll, so it's not directly related to just Florida. But it kind of gives you an idea of what other organizations are doing also. I think that was it, other than how about questions, because I'm sure there are some. Stumped you. So the question was, where do we get most of our information from? We get most of the information from governments, other providers in the area, and industry associations. And those are probably the big three. Yes, ma'am.
Will you need to increase our expense what we pay in September?
Yes, ma'am. So the question was, will we need to increase what you pay in monthly service fees in September? Yes. We're still trying to determine what that percentage is. I can assure you it's going to be higher than what it has been traditionally. That's why we were sharing with you all the challenges that we face as an organization. And most of those are not controllable, right? We have to have electricity, we have to have lights, we have to have insurance, we have to have staff. So a lot of those inputs we try to manage to our very best ability, but a lot of them are tough to cut any corners. Yes, sir. I think, right, so the question was, how many employees do we have right now? And I wish Edwin was here, so don't quote me on these, but I think that in terms of bodies, it's about 105 or 110. Now that's split. If I remember right, I think we're somewhere around 85, 90 full-time, and the rest would be part-time. All right, folks, thank you so much. I appreciate it, and I'll hand it over to marketing. Is Stephanie, or are you doing the marketing?
Stephanie.
All right, there you go.
Thanks so much. Yeah, I know. I know you're bummed. I'm not her bubbly self, but she wanted to introduce a couple of new neighbors. These are the Martins, Robert and Karen Martin. They reside all the way from DeLand, Florida. Are you here today? Yes. Would you stand up and say hello to everybody? Yay! We're so glad to have you. They reside over in Unit 225 over at the Landings Building. Glad to have you aboard. Welcome. And also Mary Haddad at 1972 Outer Circle. Is Mary here today? I thought I saw her, but there she is. Hey, Mary. Welcome aboard. All right. Hopefully next month we'll have a whole lot more because we've got a whole bunch of closings coming up in June. So that's a good thing. All right. Moving on. I'd like to call forth Mr. David Vorpago, who's got a brief update from the FRAC committee. And I've got a slide for you.
Brief?
However brief you want
Brief.
to
Okay. Well, you know what I'm here for now. We're going to have a corn feast. Anyway, we all know that this is our anniversary year, the 75th, and we've been doing a few little things along the year as it progresses. And one of those things, of course, is Linda Kirk and her Through the Decades. And through that, we learned a lot of things as to what we did in the past, and one of them happened to be a corn fest. And those corn fests usually were fundraisers, and they were designed to pick up special little items that we needed in the nursing home and so on. I remember several years ago we were able to get a walk-in bathtub, which was very important for some elderly people, and also therapy and that type of thing. So the Foundation Resident Advisory Committee has decided to sponsor the Corn Fest this year on June the 21st of 2023. So put that on your calendar, June the 21st. That's a Wednesday. And it's going to be here in the Fellowship Hall Gathering Place, rain or shine, which we did not have that option years ago, and nor did we have air conditioning years ago. So we're quite pleased about that. There'll be no charge. It is a donation only. We do happen to have a $5,000 match for the first $5,000 that comes in for this particular event. Now, the benefit of this event is all going to go to the Foundation Benevolent Activity Fund. And so it's a well worthwhile thing to participate in, and we're happy about that. Barbecue chicken and baked beans, fresh corn on the cob, beverages, and watermelon are going to be the featured items. Mary Ann has done a good job of finding a lot of this stuff at cost for us, and some of it has been donated by other vendors. And there will be 2 serving times on that particular day, one at 11:30 and also one at 1 o'clock. And so there'll be more information coming out and be putting it all in the farm boxes as to when the tickets will be available. The big thing is to remember that it is June the 21st of 2023. Okay? Soon enough? Thank you.
Thank you, David. And next up, where's our wonderful ALF administrator? There she is, Julie Clark.
They're so quiet, and we have to come last or later in the schedule, right? So you're going to do this for me? Well, good afternoon, everybody. Again, my name is Julie Clark. You have probably seen me a couple times. If you haven't, come see me some more. I just wanted to bring it to your attention that the Haven has received our ECC combined licensure for the ALFs. I'm pretty sure Justin had brought that all to everybody's attention that we had working on that project. It was something that we had to get through the state of Florida so that we can have extended congregate care in all of the ALFs, not just the memory care ALF. So I just wanted to bring to your attention a little bit about what kind of care is available through the ECC licensure. And I just want to point out it addresses 2 critical components, which is nursing and care. So these nursing component basically is nurses are typically able to give a certain level of care in the assisted living, which is basic care, like vital signs, okay, in a basic ALF. So with the ECC licensure, our nurses can provide more care that is needed sometimes. Also, what happens with that is sometimes under certain circumstances, if you do need more assistance for total health, you would need to go to a nursing home, which is a skilled nursing facility, which we would like to have everybody age in place here at the Haven with us. So this ECC licensure will enable us to provide that care. So I just wanted to bring that up in case anybody had any questions or anything, just let me know. That's it. More importantly, so the ALF has, renovation has begun, phase 1 has begun. You will see those do not enter if you come into the building and you try to go to the old nursing home area. You will see a lot of do not enter, danger zone. Please don't enter. If you have any questions about that, see Raleigh. Don't go. Okay, so phase 1, I just wanted to show you some pictures because you can't go back there. And just to kind of show you what's happening. So they are remodeling all of the ALF old nursing home rooms. There's going to be 30 assisted living rooms down there. There will be a resident care center, a dining area, spiritual care offices will be located at the ALF as well. They are also outpatient therapy, treatment rooms, home health office, and the reception and conference room and the front offices are being remodeled currently during this phase 1 period. So it's quite a bit. And it should be done by September 11th. Pray. We're going to pray, right? September 11th. And, but it's coming well. It's going along good. Now, because they started early, we were going to have all the independent living come through the ALF mock room to see what it looked like, but they started early construction. So I just wanted to show you a few pictures, little snapshots of what the ALF mock room looked like. So to have a kitchenette, obviously, in it, as you can see, a little kitchenette, and lots of space. During this renovation right now, outpatient therapy has temporarily relocated. If any of you have come for outpatient therapy, you will know it's not located in the same place, but it is in the ALF, and they've done a really great job of using that space, and it's kind of nice. You know, they're so good. Receptionists will be located just inside the library, so that front lobby area is going to be under construction as well. So if you come into the building, to the left is going to be the reception. And activities is located in the back office area if anybody needs to go to their office, but generally they don't. I think that's it for me. So do you guys have any questions? Hi. There's a lot of different care that we can provide. The licensure itself is based on what your individual needs are. Okay, so we still cannot use total lifts, like a Hoyer lift. You still can't use that. They're not regulated in the into the ALF, sorry. Yeah, that's a regulation by the state of Florida. So it just depends, you know, I know I was going to call you by name, but I guess I can't do that. So it just depends on the plan of care that you're needing, and that's a very individualized basis, and it's obviously provided by your doctor, and we have to all agree upon what it is that we can get for you. Correct. It's the highest level of licensure you can have in assisted living. There is no other licensure that would allow you to do anything more than that ECC license in assisted living. So, yeah. There is, yes. Yep, there is a few of them. Oh, sorry. The question was, is there going to be any two-room suites or larger rooms? And yes, there is. I think we have some storyboards coming so that you guys can kind of see some pictures of what the plans look like. So, okay. Thank you.
Thanks, Julie. Much appreciated. Next, we'll call up Julie Eisman from the Be Well Clinic, and also the Home Health Administrator, among other things.
Okay, I just wanted to talk just for a couple minutes that I wanted to make sure that everybody knew that COVID is on the rise here on the campus, okay? We've had a few residents that have had to go to the hospital, whether it was the ER or had to stay 3 or 4 days. So please be careful. Make sure you watch for some of the symptoms that you may have. And that's the congestion, that's the cough, that's the fever, that's the sore throat. And of course that could be a summer cold, that could be a sinus allergy, but you know, it's better to be tested, and then that way you know, so the treatment can be provided the correct way, okay? Everybody should have a home kit. You always want to keep that on hand, and that's why the government gave it to us for free, okay? So just want to put that out there. Any questions on that? Okay. Then we're good for Tammy. Yep. The COVID home test kit.
Hello, everybody. I'm Tammy Piombino. I'm a physical therapist assistant, and I work here with outpatient therapy with Alex Garduque. I see some familiar faces. For anybody at home, I'll have some more information on our last slide. So I've been a licensed physical therapist assistant here in Florida for 13 years, and I've had the pleasure of working here at Lutheran Haven for about 8 years. Did you know that every 20 minutes an older adult dies from a fall in the United States? So that being said, that's a big portion of physical therapy. We really try to prevent that. So some of the highlights in my presentation, identify what causes falls, how to prevent falls, and what to do if you fall. So towards the end, I'll be demonstrating how to properly get up from a fall safely. So fall prevention, if you are an older adult and your life has fallen, 1 in 4 people at the age of 65 or up does fall. Many adults fear falling. Even if you haven't fallen before, that's something that is very common with the elder population. The fear of falling may lead to avoid activities such as walking, shopping, or taking part in any social activities. And I don't think Lori Baker wants that, so we'll keep her happy. Staying active is an important aspect to keep your body healthy, and it helps prevent falls. So don't let your fear keep you from being active. So this is one way we can learn about falls. Some causes that cause falls would be poor eyesight, hearing, reflexes may not be as sharp as they once were. Certain conditions such as diabetes, heart disease, or problems with your thyroid, nerves, feet, blood vessels, all of those can lead to a fall and affect your balance. Conditions that cause rush movements like incontinence and rushing to the restroom. So those are also higher fall risks. Age-related loss of muscle mass, problems with balance and gait, of course, blood pressure. Sometimes we get up too quickly, our blood pressure drops. That's actually called hypotension, so something to be aware of. Foot problems that cause pain, and unsafe footwear. So in my next couple of slides, I'll have different ways that you can try to prevent falls. These are different factors associated with greater rates of fall. So some of the things that we just mentioned before: arthritis, anemia, arrhythmia, fractures, dementia, neuropathy, urinary incontinence, impaired vision and hearing, diabetes, and these are just to name a few. Okay, here's a fall prevention checklist. We'll also have a copy at the Be Well Clinic as well as home health physical therapy. So if there's any questions, we'll have two papers to hand out for everybody. So you want to install sturdy handrails on both sides of stairs. Keep your home free of clutter. Beware of tripping hazards, small animals, small rugs, uneven flooring, and insecure bedding. You want to be sure to place a slip-proof mat in the tub, and then keep your phone and electronic cords out of your pathway. Getting a portable phone or your medical life alert. Install good lighting and use night lights throughout your home. Install handrails and bathtubs and toilet areas. And then, of course, in outpatient therapy, we could also check your walker and your cane for the appropriate measure, and we'll show you how to safely use those as well. And then you definitely want to wipe up any spills immediately. Okay, where do most falls occur? Bedrooms, living rooms, kitchen, and garden. So with this in mind, you want to have a chair, preferably with armrest, in those areas. They could assist you in getting up from a fall, and I'll demonstrate shortly. Some steps to take to prevent falls: stay physically active with Tyler Wellington. We also have outpatient therapy. We have home health services for physical therapy and occupational therapy. You want to be sure to fall-proof your home, have your eyes and ear hearing tested, and find out any side effects from your medicines that you take. Get enough sleep, avoid alcohol, and stand up slowly. Take your time. Okay, number one, how to get up from a fall. So these are just a brief stay calm and breathe. If you have any pain, call 911, press your emergency alert system. If you are unable to get up and make noise, yell for help. And caregivers, this is really important. Check for injuries indicating bruising or skin discoloration, evidence of a break. If the person has the facial grimaces or cries out, if you move to touch them, please wait for emergency personnel before helping that person up. So those are the do not get up, wait for emergency personnel. And then this is how you properly get up using a chair, preferably one with armrests. So I'm just gonna switch on over my mic. Hopefully this works. And now I'm gonna do acrobats. Testing, testing. Woohoo, okay. Are you able to see me okay? That's right. Gotta tie your shoe. Boom, chee. Okay. All right. Can you see me okay, Jeff? Okay, I've fallen. I'm on the floor. First thing you want to do is try to stay calm. Take a deep breath. Now, the next step is, am I hurting anywhere? Are my hands hurting? Are my feet hurting? So go ahead and move your hands. Take your time. Bend one knee and then the other, and you're going to roll over to one side. From here, you're going to use your arms and your forearms to help push you up into a partial sitting position. And then you want to look around. Take your time here. If this is something like orthostatic hypotension, your blood pressure could be dropped. So what that causes is dizziness, lightheaded. It's very dangerous, and you don't want to attempt to get up by yourself. Of course, you want to yell for help, press your emergency alert button. The next step, you want to come onto your hands and your feet. So in a little tabletop position. From here, again, take your time, breathe. You're gonna walk over to whatever surface. It could be a couch, it could be a chair, It could be a toilet, depends on where you're falling. So you want to crawl over to that chair. You're going to place your hands right onto the chair and bring one foot up. So you're in a half kneeling position. From here, you want to shift your weight onto your forearms and place your other foot and straighten out your leg. Take your time. Again, breathe and slowly turn and sit down in the chair. Ta-da! And that's how to safely get up. Ta-da! Yeah. And then just some other things with outpatient therapy. We are providing pelvic floor dysfunction therapy. Are you experiencing any episodes of bowel and bladder incontinence? When you're laughing, when you're sneezing, when you're coughing, and or with movements? Do you have lower back pain or discomfort? Do you have poor trunk control or pelvic stability? You may benefit from pelvic floor strengthening. Woohoo! Stop by our outpatient therapy. Our phone number is 407-706-1270, and we're open Monday through Friday from 9 to 5. If you have any questions, feel free to stop by or give us a call. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
All right, I promise I'm last, and then we get into the questions, and then you get to tar and feather me at that point, okay? So let me just get through this real quick. All right, so some project updates. You've seen Duke Energy out here finally on the aquatic center side of things, right? Yeah, today I don't know how many trucks it takes some coming over. Here. Yeah, I know you can hear it. It's the people watching online we're good? Okay, we're back up. Let me start this again. Project updates. You've seen Duke Energy out here over the last weeks. So yesterday and today, they were out in force. Massive loads of them. You think that they work for the government. And 15 trucks and 2 people doing all the work, right? So they got the big line removed over the top here. They got the transformer, which is that big green monster you see across the parking lot out there. And they've got power hooked up. So I was talking to Andy Babchuk before here, and I said, I got to go back to them, though, because I thought they were supposed to remove that line going to the wood shop. They were supposed to route it towards the village shop and then across. So still got some work to do on that. But the good news is they've been out in action finally. And Tico's right behind them. They're about another month out with their construction crew, and basically they're going to be running their gas lines from the front of campus, from the Aloma entry off here, down our current easement. So just so you have an understanding how that works with utility companies, they come in and they say, we'll do all this work, but we want a blanket easement. And I'll say, no, you're not getting a blanket easement. And why? Because if I give them a blanket easement, it gives them carte blanche on where they want to put their stuff, which could limit anything future that we want to do. So I kind of held their feet to the fire and said, no, you got to use what we got out here, which has took them a little bit longer for whatever reason in their process. But about a month out, and then they'll be running their gas lines, and that pool equipment will basically sit off the back corner of these bathrooms back here. That's out in that area there. So that's where the gas lines will come up along Fountain Drive in that easement and hook up into there. Okay? Nothing new on the Nordquist property or the Langs addition at this time. However, after a year in the making, we finally have our mailbox permits. In hand. I'm going to bronze them, memorialize them, and hang them up. They're not going anywhere. It took me that long to get them. So we're happy about that. And simultaneously to finally getting that, what took a lot less time was we finally got our permits to work on the burned out units now. So that's working. When it rains, it pours. And everything happens at once. So that's some good news there. Now, it's time to talk about hurricane season. That dirty little word, right? Hurricane 2023, June 1st to November 30th, or as I like to add on to the end of that, whenever God decides it's going to time to stop. Because just because you're outside the window doesn't mean you can't get one, okay? Now, this year, I always found this interesting. Our leading authority on these things is Colorado State University. They're in the mountains. And yet they're one of the most accurate people around when it comes to predicting hurricanes. The guy and his crew, the researchers out there, almost every year are almost spot on with their predictions. So this year, they are predicting a slightly below average season compared to the last 5 years. And the reason they're saying that is because this little guy up here, his name is El Nino. And El Nino comes in and sucks all the moisture out and dries everything out. So they're predicting that El Nino is going to be at its peak in August and September, which is the peak of our hurricane season for that matter as well. So the good news is that we might be slightly below average on that. The bad news is we might be in for a long, hot summer. So hydrate, okay? Keep cool. Make sure your ACs are working. They're predicting 13 named storms with 6 becoming hurricanes, and of those, 2 being major hurricanes. Remember, major hurricanes are categories 3, 4, and 5. We'll get into that in a second here. So here are the named storms. See if your name's up there this year. Arlene, Brett, Cindy, Dawn, Emily, Franklin, Gert, Harold, Idalia, Jose, Katia, Lee, Margot, Nigel, my favorite Ophelia, Philippe, Rena, Sean, Tammy, Vince, and Whitney. So if your name's on that list, I'll be keeping my eyes on you through the rest of this hurricane season. All right, so when does a hurricane actually become a hurricane? Well, it becomes a hurricane when it's 74 miles an hour or more and sustained winds. Somebody says the other day, we got 13 named storms. Is that 13 hurricanes? No. But when does it become a named storm? Nope. When it becomes a tropical storm, you're right. Tropical depressions get assigned numbers, not storm names, right? So if something's out there and you've got sustained winds of basically 23 to 38 miles an hour sustained, they'll assign it a number, tropical depression number 9, whatever the case may be, okay? Once it goes above that 38 miles per hour, so 39 to 73, it becomes a tropical storm. And that's when it becomes a named storm, when it becomes a tropical storm, all right? Hurricanes happen at 74 miles an hour or greater, all right? And here you can see the different categories. With a Cat 1 at 74 to 95, Cat 2, 96 to 111, Cat 3, 111 to 129, Cat 4, 130 to 156, and Cat 5, don't worry about it. We're not going to be here. But that's when it happens, at those sustained, okay? It was only back in 2019 when we thought we were going to get slammed with a Cat 5 off of our coast. Anybody remember what the name of that storm was? Dorian. Dorian came up through the wind tunnel down there, through the Leeward Islands and through Puerto Rico and sat itself right over the top of the Bahamas and stalled out until the front came down and pushed it off, it glanced off our coast, and we got nothing out of it. But we were right up until the 11th hour with wondering what we were going to do with that storm. So they're out there. Fortunately, we've been blessed that we haven't had anything more than a Cat 1 or 2 in recent history. Okay? Our procedures. And I'm not going to give you as much as I have in years past, and I'll tell you why. Because we just had a Hurricane Zona Black Captain meeting yesterday. Some of you were not at that meeting, but I see some of your faces in here. So if you will see me after this meeting, I've got your folders to give to you after the meeting, so just see me in the back. But we had our meeting yesterday, and I handed out their folders for everybody that's under their purview, okay? And in those folders, you have like med IDs, okay? So if you have one on your refrigerator and you've worn it out with your eraser because you've been changing all your medications, you can fill a new one out, all right? That's for you to keep on your refrigerator. Don't hand that back. But we have other forms in there asking whether or not you have special needs, asking if you have a generator in your house. We've even given you some extra vacation forms, right? Don't use those now, but if you go out during a hurricane and you're going to tell us that you're not sheltering in place, we want those filled out so we know who's here and who's not here. All right. Our zone and block captains are resident volunteers, and I have worked for 14 years with these zone and block captains, and I'm very grateful for them. Right, you all do a wonderful job, and you help me out tremendously by getting this information out and helping us to keep in contact with all of our residents during the storms. All right, and so we, as administration, we monitor these storms closely all through the year. And if we know that we're going to be impacted by these things, then we will regather all the zone and block captains, get them together and say, okay, we're expecting an impact. Here's what I need you to do. At that point in time, we hand out those little red H4H signs. That means home for hurricane. So if you're sheltering in place, we're going to ask you to slap that on your front window. If you have shutters, slap it on your front door as best you can with masking tape. We'll worry about the paint later, right? Because you can't put it on the outside of a shutter. They'll just blow off. Your doors, especially back in Section 4, are a little bit more sheltered, okay? But that's when those signs go out, because during the storm, a lot of times with Ian and Nicole, myself, and a lot of my staff were out in the middle of the night unplugging drains and whatnot. The next day, we were checking on everybody. And if we see the H4H sign, we know you're home. If we don't see it, then we're going to assume that you're not there. But let's say you didn't put it up there in your home and you fell. You might be delayed getting help, okay? So that's one way that helps us to understand if you're home for a hurricane or not, so that we can get you whatever help you need, all right? And so as your zone and block captains will be going around this coming weeks and handing out that information, we're going to ask that you get that back to the concierge. Ideally, we'd like to have it back by June 1st. That's the start of hurricane season. There's nothing on the radar right now. But, the sooner we get that back, the sooner we can compile that information. And then that helps us to pre-plan in case of an event. That helps us to plan our resources and how we need to accommodate for various people in the community who have special needs. You might have insulin that needs to be refrigerated, and you don't have a backup generator in your house. Well, we've got resources that we can plug you into to make sure that your medications are staying refrigerated. Things of that nature. You might be on a concentrator and you lose power. What are we going to do with you, right? These are all things that we take into consideration to help you all out and to keep our people safe. All right, so that's all. I just went over most of that there. As an administration and operations, we're going to be pretty busy securing the campus. We're positioning sandbags, water pumps, things of that nature, whatever we got to do. And so, I've really asked the zone and block captains to really impress upon everybody that, hey, please be mindful of the things you put out in your yards and your wind chimes and all that stuff, and do the best you can to get them down, because it really lightens the load on us as operations, not having to go around at the 11th hour to take your things down when we've got to board things up. Okay? That's really about it. Any questions on the hurricane stuff? I know it was, yes.
I just want to point out that it's not just wind that you need to look out for, but water as you don't just have to look out for high winds. You need to look out for water. I think Ian taught us that. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that you all had waterfront property during Ian, every one of you, because I was out in the middle of the night during that storm, and we were fording water in golf carts and everything else trying to get up and down the streets. That was a bad storm, but I think that was like a 500-year event too. So hopefully I'm long dead before we see rains like that again. But we're in Florida. Afternoon thunderstorms produce and flash floods pretty quickly, so you never know what you're going to end up with. Any other questions on the hurricane stuff before I open it to general? Julie?
Just want to stress how important it is to write those special needs down, your medications, very important. We looked at it very closely last year, and we had to do a lot of accommodations. It helps us to know what type of special equipment you have, CPAP, oxygen, anything that you typically have to use electricity for. So write it all down, and we do take a look at that.
Thank you. Anything else on this? All right, then I'm going to open the floor to general questions. General, anything, throw it out there. I can't answer it. I'll give you some sort of answer. It might not be the one you like. Yes, Miss Singleton.
have a question about the transportation, the new rules. I would like for you all to go back and rethink what is your 48 hours, because I think that emergencies like I've got a pain in my side and I need to see my doctor is an emergency, and maybe transportation can help you. But I don't think you need to pay a $25 fee for that. Or, for instance, last week, my car was so naughty, it did not give me 48-hour notice that the battery wouldn't start the car. So I got a $25 fee, plus I got a $137 new battery. Now, I don't know about you, but I think that they need to come up with what is an emergency and have that included in our transportation information. And I understand why you want 48 hours on regular visits, but come up with some clear information on that.
Duly noted. Thank you. Other questions? Well, let me check the handy, anything on there? No? All right. Well, I think I've held you for an hour and a half. I don't know about you, but I got to use the bathroom. So blessings on your day, and thanks again. We'll see you next month.